What's up, you guys? Welcome to the second episode of the Mr. CPA podcast. I am your host, Bryan Carreto, CPA. And on this podcast, we discuss business, personal development, and all things accounting related. And on today's podcast, what we're going to discuss is why health is the true wealth and juxtaposition in your life. So we're going to go into story mode here, right into it. And as some of you may know, some of you that follow me on Instagram, I got sick with the flu 2 weeks, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And it was honestly probably the worst experience I've had in a very, very long time. And it's funny because I had been really, ever since the year started, I had started on a really good workout program. I was eating well. I was doing good. I mean, I feel like everything was going in the right direction. And then all of a sudden, I had already booked a class that. So I'm going to go on some tangents here, but that's why hopefully you guys enjoy this podcast format where I'm not cutting almost everything, because my editor Xander literally helps me look good in every video. Because if you guys seen the unedited version, no, it wouldn't be good. But so anyway, so I think, in my opinion, spending money, or not even spending money, investing money in yourself, such as health clubs or certain things where they might be a little expensive, but they're benefiting your own life and you're getting some fulfillment, enjoyment, or some type of health benefit from, I think it's totally worth the cost. It's funny how when I was younger, I would hate spending money on like good food and certain things in my life. But now I see the value in actually investing money in good food, good gym memberships, in places where, as you guys can see, I still have a cough. But really putting money into things that are going to benefit my life as a whole. So anyways, so I go to some place. It's funny. It's kind of like whatever, quote unquote, girly. But so I go to some place called Lit Method. I actually really, really like it. I go to the location in West Hollywood, and I've been going for about a month now, and I freaking love it, man. Like, I have such a good time. Every time I leave the class, I feel like so alive. I feel literally, did I cry in one of them? Probably. But I just feel really, really good leaving the class. And believe it or not, it's mostly women in the class. And but like I said, it makes me feel good. It's a lot more focused on like longevity. And it's literally called LIT, which is low impact training. And why I like it so much, it's actually quite expensive. I think I pay like $150 and I only go 2 or 3 days a week. So yeah, so it's quite expensive, but again, I don't mind spending the money because it makes me very, very happy. It makes me feel more fit overall, because, you know, we do a lot of rowing and a lot of body weight movements and stuff that I actually really enjoy. The music is great. And the trainer, Tiffany, is a freaking sweetheart, and she just makes you feel super alive. So anyways, it's Sunday. I think it's a Sunday forget the days. But anyways, it's the night before I booked to go to class the next day. And I was super pumped, man, and everything was ready to go. And it was the weirdest experience I probably ever had, because I was ready to go. I had already booked my class. It was really early still. I was already on like a really good path of going to bed early and on time. So I think it was like 9:30 and I was already in bed ready to go to sleep. And all of a sudden, it's weird, I start feeling like chills down my body. And I'm like, maybe it's because, sometimes I like to sleep, the way I came out of the womb, if that makes sense to you. So I was like, maybe I need to put some clothes on, right? Maybe I just need to put a shirt and some sweats and feel a little warmer. It's still, although I live in LA, it's been a little colder. So I'm like, maybe it's that. So I put on clothes and I still have a feeling like I have chills in my body. I'm like, what the heck is going on, man? Like, I don't get it. So I keep having these chills, and next thing I know, it's like I literally felt like 20 hours had passed by, and I opened my eyes and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm late for work. Like, I don't know what just happened. I'm like in complete disarray of what the heck is going on. And believe it or not, I look at my phone and it's like 11:15. I'm like, what the heck? It's only been an hour. So it's really weird, and I just don't feel good. Like I don't feel well at all. And I'm tossing and turning and tossing and turning, and I'm starting to sweat, and it's just not a good feeling. I feel absolutely terrible. And I think it was about 3:30 a.m. when I finally said, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to freaking die in this bed. Like, I need to get up and do something. So I actually got up. I had literally built the strength to get up out of my bed, and I went to my kitchen or living room, and then I literally popped like 2 or 3 Tylenols, and I'm like, please God, let this pain go away. And literally I popped them, and I was luckily able to just go to bed and kind of just get through the night essentially, and kind of wake up at like 7:30 and be like, oh man, I had to work the next day, but luckily able to kind of just get it done from home. And but just feeling like absolute crap. And it's funny how with health, it's something that that we take for granted all the time. Just being able to wake up and move our body and feel good, and not be in pain all day, and not have backaches or headaches, or just being able to be a healthy human, that in itself is such a blessing. It's funny how like these small things we take for granted because we really don't realize we have it until you don't have it. And health is one of those things. The next day I didn't work out. I didn't feel good at all. My head was hurting. I couldn't really work because I had like a certain amount of brain fog. And before, anyone says, I did not have the Rona. I actually tested for it, and I didn't have it. I just got the flu. But it really goes back to the point of just how health is really the most important thing, because without it, you don't have anything. You have nothing. When I was going through that experience, believe me when I tell you, I wasn't thinking about my brokerage account with M1 Finance. I wasn't thinking about my 6-figure retirement fund. I wasn't thinking about the money I have in the bank. I wasn't thinking about really my job at that point. I wasn't thinking about my career. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just thinking about how the heck am I going to be able to feel better and be able to move and do what I need to do, and just be a healthy member of society. That's really the only thing that was going through my mind at the moment, was just, man, please make me feel better. And it's funny how, even on this channel, I preach about hard work and saving and investing and spending time on your career, and all that's great. But at the end of the day, what really truly matters is your health. And thankfully, I do consider myself a relatively healthy guy, and in the stage of the life that I'm in. And believe me when I tell you, this year I am so crushing all my fitness goals, 100%. I am so tunnel vision on getting in the best shape of my life this year. And thankfully, even when I got sick, I'm a relatively healthy guy, for my age. And I think that was a big reason that it didn't take me out, I guess, as bad or worse than what it already was. Because, unfortunately, it's very sad. But, a lot of people that have had more underlying health conditions, or that weren't maybe as physically fit, have really struggled with obviously the situation that we've all been dealing with for the past few years. And it really goes to show you how health is really the only thing, not the only thing that matters, but the most important thing. Without that, you have nothing. You can literally amass, 40 million, 30 million, millions of dollars at a certain point in your life. But if you sacrifice your health in order to get to a certain point in your life financially, and once you get to that point financially, if you don't have the health, nothing matters. It doesn't matter. Sure, maybe you could pay for the best doctors and the best medicine, but the best medicine, in my opinion, in my own life, has been not reactive, but proactive. Eating the good foods, exercising well, doing the right things, and honestly, expressing gratitude. It's funny how when I was able to finally go back to my first lit class a few days ago, I literally cried. That sounds really weird. I literally cried during, I think, almost at the end, when our trainer Tiffany, she's like, saying these motivational things, and I'm like really having a good time with it, and I'm just like sitting there and saying, man, thank you. I do believe in God. I am a believer, but whatever you believe in, that's great. I literally was like, thank you, God, for allowing me to just be here, be healthy, move my body, and be able to have this feeling of a sweat dropping down my face and just feeling so alive in the moment. It just felt great. And yeah, it goes to the second point topic of this podcast, and that's juxtaposition. And it's a really fancy word that I really like using because I learned it not too long ago. But juxtaposition is essentially where you benchmark. You can't really enjoy the light if you don't have dark. It's essentially yin and yang. It's two different aspects or two different points of perception that you have. And it reminds me of how during that lit training class, when I was in there and I literally cried because I was able to move my body again and experience working out and feeling the sweat drop down my face and my heart pumping and just being able to breathe and everything. It just, man, it's like that feeling literally coming back to me right now while I'm making the podcast. And just being able to feel that it was another level of gratitude and just you don't appreciate the good until you experience the bad. And it's funny how life works in that way because, as we continue to progress in our careers and our life and we become more successful just with everything in general, you really don't appreciate the highs if you haven't gone through the lows. I remember when I just, I know I've probably said this during my some videos here on the YouTube channel, but growing up, I was never really a guy that was academically sound. I don't think I ever K through 12th grade ever someone told me that I was like a smart guy or like, I was going to go to college or anything. So now to be in the position that I'm in, a very experienced, highly paid, I guess, executive of a company, it's amazing. And the feeling is great. I wake up every day with the sense of joy and fulfillment and purpose that I'm like, man, I remember the days when I was rolling burritos at Chipotle, working, my job for $6.75 an hour, washing dishes, rolling burritos. I was having a great time, don't get me wrong, but it was definitely an experience. And to be able to kind of have that juxtaposition to, that part of my life where, I was my whole shoulder, my shoes had holes in them to now, now I wear a suit and I sit in a nice, very air conditioned office every day. It's funny on my Instagram, I feel like I always post things where I'm like very happy and joyful. And honestly, that's kind of just the way I am all the time because of what I've experienced in life and the hardships that I've had to go through. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I had this terrible childhood or whatever. I actually had a great childhood. But I do come from, parents that immigrated to this country a long time ago back in the 80s. And with that coming from, a child of immigrants, it comes with a certain hardship of, it's funny how I even think about the hardship my parents had, when they just came to this country, they didn't know the language. I even think like, man, that what they even went through to get here. And I'm sure a lot of you have similar stories of your parents or grandparents having to immigrate to this country or wherever country you are from. And to see and to just be able to assess, man, look where they're at now to when they got here. And it's just sometimes in life when you go through bad things, I know it sounds really counterintuitive, but consider it a blessing in disguise because one day this too shall pass. Anything you're going through, it will subside and you will have some other way to benchmark that low point in your life. And sometimes in life, when you hit a high, it feels like a high because you've experienced the low. I know it sounds really stupid, but believe me when I tell you, I think I am the way I am. And I started this podcast and YouTube channel and everything to be able to share these experiences that I've had in my life and to be able to have that juxtaposition to that, little Mexican kid rolling burritos, 7 years ago to now the position that I'm in, having this house, having this freaking studio that I'm in, filming this podcast, talking to all of you guys. It truly is a blessing. And that's why I am so grateful and so, appreciative of just everything I have now because of what I've been able to experience. So whatever you're going through right now, whatever you're going through today, maybe you're going through the CPA exam and you're having a hard time. Believe me, when you're that super cool executive partner, whatever, a few years from now, it's going to feel great because of where you were able to come from. If you already started there, it wouldn't feel any different from anything. It wouldn't feel any different from literally, that's why achievements mean something, because you started at a point that was low and you ended up high. So that's essentially why, we feel certain ways about certain accomplishments. So at the end of the day, guys, always remember that health is truly the ultimate and only thing that really truly matters, that we really need to emphasize and put in perspective why we do the things we do, and always put that as number one, because most things in life, we don't appreciate them until we don't have them. And juxtaposition, like I said, whatever you're going through right now, believe me when I tell you that you will appreciate it, because when you're that big baller, when you're not at this point in your life, you're going to look back and those days are going to be literally the most beautiful. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the podcast today. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe with your friends, and please make sure to support the channel. And until next time, work hard, dress well. Peace.